Welcome to Technical Writing. My name's Kelly Frierson. I'm going to be your professor this semester for your online class. Right now I want to jump into the content of Blackboard. Here you'll find obviously all your work, syllabus, grade information books, all the modules in the final exam, calendar. Make sure you follow the calendar. I would use the month, and that way you can quickly see what's due. And obviously we have assignments due coming up. Discussion board is here. These are due at the end of the week. Make sure that you stay on top of that. And in the grade book, you'll see other stuff in the grade book. Make sure that you kind of stay right where we are for the time being and not work ahead as much, as stuff might be changing. And then, of course, if you want to send me messages, you can send me a message. So let's get into the content on the syllabus. Hopefully most of you have gotten into the syllabus and looked at it. I did post this note that there's going to be a more in-depth course schedule. Look for that during this week because I'm going to start working on it today and work with dates, especially since I had to shift everything into the future for a week. So here's the course schedule. Obviously, this is for my hybrid class, but you're online. It doesn't change much. If you need an appointment with me, make sure to request one. We can either do Collaborate or Zoom. I'm up for either one of them. But I am on campus on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. That's the only time I'll be on campus because I have not moved to Huntsville yet, so I'm making the commute. Again, this was a real quick job transition for me, and that's why I'm about a week behind. If you haven't gotten the book, please get the book. So we're using the 13th edition of Technical Communications. I do follow the objectives fairly closely. So you're going to look at rhetorical situation, purpose, goals, audience. You're going to design several documents. I'm looking at usability and if they're engaging and how you format them. I'm also going to work with you on creating, editing, and revising your work so that it looks more professional. And then, again, we're going to work as a team. I'm going to teach you how to be on a team this semester. Most people don't really know how a team functions, so we'll really get into that in Module 2. As we'll start our teamwork Module 1, I believe. So, course evaluation. This is how the grades are divided up and the percentages that I use to weigh them. Your attendance does count, so keep that in mind that when I post that discussion board, check in with me. Let me know how you're doing. Grading standards, here I geared this for you just because this is how it would look on a professional side. So keep that in mind when you read these. It kind of comes across as, okay, if I was a supervisor, this is how I would look at it. Or if I was a client, this is how I would look at it. Okay, policies, make sure you read all the policies about attendance, conduct, correspondence, especially correspondence. During the week, I usually get back to emails fairly quickly, but response over the weekend will be slim, so don't expect it on the weekend, but I will get back to you on Monday. And then assignments are due on the day they're due. If you need an extension because something does come up, make sure that you contact me before the assignment is due. Not after it's passed, but before it's due. All my assignments, I hope will be able to transition to my Monday due date where everything will be due on Mondays at midnight. If you're working at 11:30 and you have not turned it in, I would highly suggest sending me the email. Make sure you look here to understand what I want in that email before you send it. But go ahead and send it at 11:30 because chances are you might not make that deadline. And if so, then you are covered because you've already sent the email. If you have managed to turn it in before the 11:59 mark, then that's fine too because I'll just ignore the email. But at least you're covered and I know what's going on. And if I grant the extension, you do have it. So not all the time will I grant extensions, so you do run into that issue too because you do have to provide a good explanation as to why you're running this late. Academic honesty, that's a Sam Houston policy. Make sure you follow it in the introduction or module 1 in the extra materials folder, I do go into plagiarism, but you should have a really good handle on what plagiarism is from 1301 and 1302. If you have a disability, please let me know right away and then go see the Disability Center if you have not done so to get your disability on file. I'm not going to go through all of this due to time length, but again, here's kind of a basic description on what we're going to look at during the semester. We'll do some and not all. This is the schedule of read-ins and assignments. Again, you'll see these in each module, so I remind you of that. This is really basic, something that I put together, obviously in a rush, trying to get something up so you can have it. I will be working on a new course schedule so that you'll have it and you'll see exactly what to do every week and what we're covering and smaller deadlines and what's going on. Right along, grade information. If you want to know the definitions of A, B, C, D, and F papers, by all means pull this up, glance through it. That way you kind of have an idea even more in depth than the other one as to how I'm going to grade it. But again, this is more on the academic side, not the professional side. But do keep this in mind. And then if you have not read Surviving the Semester, please get in there and read Surviving the Semester because it will really help you. And it's not geared just for online classes. It's also geared for your classes that you take face-to-face. And it kind of gives you kind of heads up on what professors think and how they work. So books. Okay, obviously you can get your book from the bookstore if you signed up for the bundle. Or you can get the 13th edition of the book. It doesn't matter to me where you get it from. Grammar book recommendation. This is the best grammar book out there on the market. If you don't have it, I highly suggest you get a copy of it. If you have problems with any kind of grammar or want to know the rules behind everything, this is the book to have in hand. And then I've scanned chapters 1 through 4. They're not the best copies, but they are a copy. So if you're running a little bit behind on getting the book or waiting for it to get mailed, you do have these where you can take your test. So I believe it is chapters 1 through 4. Module test number 1 does include other chapters, so make sure you have the book by the time module 1 test is due. So the introduction. This is how all the courses or all the modules will be set up. You'll have your highlights, kind of what we're going to learn, all the textbook chapters for this module. Those are where your tests are going to come from. All the tests are online, open book. By all means, make hundreds on them because they do help your grade point average. I'm going to be fairly, I guess you could say, hard when I grade your technical documents that you turn into me because when I give feedback, I expect you to be able to take that feedback and use it for the next assignment. And for that final portfolio, you'll have to revise your documents so that they look like they're supposed to look when you get ready to go out there for the job. So, personal introduction, if you haven't done that by now, please do that. Get in the discussion board and tell me what you believe technical writing is all about. And then take your module test, which you have those scanned chapters. Okay, the first box, you'll see the highlights and objectives, textbooks, all the assignments, supported material. Extra material folder holds material that you'll be responsible for but not necessarily tested on, but it will apply to your assignments, so you will need to get in there and take a look at them. Make sure that each week, preferably Sunday or Monday, remember most of my assignments are going to be try to get them due on Monday nights, but sometime on Sunday you get online and take a look at what we're doing that week. And that way you can kind of schedule your work with due dates. If it comes to it where there's enough students that request a Zoom class meeting to cover lecture notes or assignments, especially if we get into when we get to the proposal, maybe into the careers module that I work with, I might have a Zoom class meeting on a Sunday night. That way it doesn't conflict with a lot of your schedules and you can hop in and we can have an informal class where we just discuss the assignments, what's going on, and then move forward from there. Make sure to read all the lecture notes. They're all right here, how to communicate with me. what the different classes are. Again, synchronous would be those scheduled Zoom classes. They will be all voluntary. You won't be required to attend them. Obviously, this is an online class, but they will, if I schedule them, they'll be there to help you. And then assignments, and then again, teamwork. Look at these 2 PowerPoints, and then you're good for the beginning of Module 1. Make sure you look at the mission statement and purpose, what I'm actually going to do this semester, attendance check-in. If you have a photo, which I hope you will, make sure you don't attach the photo, but you insert it into your introduction so that I can see it without opening all the attachments. They take a lot of time, and I have 3, 4, 5 online classes that I'm teaching. So make sure that you insert that photo in there instead of attaching it. You should be able to go back in there and fix that if that has been the case. If you did an introduction earlier because you worked ahead, make sure that you go in here and actually work with my introduction. Explore and technical writing. Make sure you read the instructions about how to copy and paste. Extra material, this is that folder that I was talking about. There are examples in here so you can see that, and then the module test. This week, we'll be finishing up the introduction module and moving into module 1. By all means, get in here. I'm going to let you read these and lecture notes and all the PowerPoints. Make sure you do the check-in by Friday. Watch this video. It's a very good video, and take the short quiz and then the module test. The introduction or the extra material is brochure examples, and then the brochure assignment is coming up. The reason it's not posted yet is because I don't have a due date. I'm still working on those due dates, but we will work with that. That brochure will be a group activity. And then final exam I posted, and that's the reason I posted that is because it's a portfolio. It's going to cover stuff you do all semester. So as you get these done, you can post it in your portfolio. Make sure you read how to post them. In Google Sites, you'll have to create that page. The introduction should come straight from this introductory module. The brochure, again, that will be the group work that you do. You should be proud of the brochure that you make. Newsletter, resume, project, sample from your field. Think about that this semester to think about what class you might want to use and what example that you want to actually put in a portfolio. Remember, this is geared for employers to look at. It's your portfolio that you say, these are all the technical documents I've come up with. Proposal, the presentation, the infographic, and then the final reflection page. This reflection page obviously is for my class and my class only. When you get ready to show this to an employer, make sure you delete this reflection page. I would again put another project or 2 from your field in there instead of the reflection page. As we go through, I'll go back and visit this section with the final exam to make sure you're keeping up with it. But at this point, I would suggest go ahead and start creating your Google Sites. If you have any questions, shoot them to me and let me know. You've been put into groups, so reach out to your group members. And I appreciate all the patience that you've shown as I've gotten assigned the class and got it started up and got my material in here for you to use instead of what was presently you were able to look at from the last professor that was assigned the class. Again, reach out to me. I'm glad to be teaching you guys this semester, and I hope we have really cool weeks and you learn a lot of stuff about technical writing.